Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of my podcast. And today I'm here with my good friend Ramsey. And Ramsey, why don't you just introduce yourself a little bit?
Hey everybody, my name is Ramsey. I'm from Framingham, Massachusetts. I went to URI with Nasser. Graduated recently. I'm now in school at Regis College in Mass.
Awesome, awesome. And you actually went through a pretty significant transformation. Right, actually, not too pretty recently. So why don't you go ahead and tell me about why you kind of started that journey and what kind of led you to kind of had yourself thinking that you're like, okay, maybe it's time to make a change now.
Yeah, so in high school, I was always an athlete. I was always playing football, staying active, and I loved working out. I was working out all the time. I felt like I was.
And you even said you won an award in high school, right, for football?
Oh yeah, I did the Strength and Conditioning Award. Yeah,
Exactly. So you were in stellar shape in high school.
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay,
And then
gotcha.
after senior year, when
Mhm,
I stopped playing football, and I knew I wasn't going to play football in college, I kind of
mhm,
just started caring less. I
mhm,
noticed in pictures I was getting a lot bigger
mhm.
and bigger, and I didn't really notice until people started posting pictures of that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
I got you. I got
I
you.
got to freshman year, and I was like, man, I got to change this.
Mhm,
And I did an unhealthy, weight loss journey my freshman year of college, basically,
mhm,
and then because it was unhealthy, I gained all that weight back again sophomore year, and
mhm,
I just was getting heavier and heavier
mhm,
up until senior year. I didn't realize it all junior year I was getting big, and then senior year, I remember waking up every day just feeling like trash. I felt horrible. I felt gross. I remember specifically I was at the my place of employment at the time. I was sitting down on the couch and I was eating a calzone or something heavy like that. And
mhm.
someone took a picture of the room and sent it to a group chat that we were in,
Yeah.
and saw the picture and I was like, "Is that me?" Like, I didn't even recognize myself. And I was just like,
Really?
that's when I
I
needed
didn't even
to
know
make a
about this.
change.
So wow.
Oh yeah. That's something I really never shared before.
Mhm,
I saw that picture and I was like, wow, like something needs change. Like my chin was, out there. My gut, I felt like was huge. I was just like,
mhm,
this, I don't like what I see right now.
mhm. I got you. I got you. I can actually kind of relate to that because when I started my kind of fitness journey, I guess I was in middle school, so obviously I was like a lot younger. But I noticed that I sat down one day and I kind of just looked at the rolls on my stomach and I was like, wow, what am I doing right now?
Yeah.
This is not who I want to be. Like this is I'm glad I picked it up young because then I realized okay, I can, live a healthier lifestyle later, but if I can fix this now,
Hmm.
I will be happier in the long run and I know it. And also back to your point with I know a lot of people come into college from other high school sports and then they gain the freshman 15. That's pretty popular. People could talk
Yep.
about that all the time at URI, and I know that's pretty popular in pretty much every college in America. People talk about the freshman 15, and people laugh at it, but honestly, it's not really a laughing matter. That's actually really unhealthy sometimes because
Yep.
a lot of people just don't are almost completely sedentary. They're like, oh, you know what? I'm focusing so much on schoolwork. I'm not even going to worry about the gym right
Yeah.
now. But they got to realize at some point, you have to start worrying about your health. You have to start caring about what you put into your body. You have to start caring about going outside and exercising. Because people at some point will have that point where they're like, okay, wow, look at me. What have I done? Where you had that point where you said you looked at the picture, and I had that point where I looked at myself and I'm like, damn, I really need to make a change
Hmm.
because this is not who I want to be.
Yeah. And you don't realize it,
Mhm. And
every
you don't
day.
realize
Just
it. Yeah,
little
you're
habits. Yeah,
right.
it's little things. You mess up one day and you're like, oh, it's fine, like whatever. And then the next day you're doing it again. You're forgetting that
Yeah,
you keep eating that way before, or doing what you're doing before
yeah,
that's unhealthy. And then eventually, you're 6 months down the road and you're like, how did I get here?
yeah, exactly. It's almost like the opposite of how you should be treating it because it's like, all right, you know what? Let's say you start off by working out. One day you're like, okay, I'm gonna work out. All right, that felt good. Next day you work out. Next day you work out. Next day you work out. Next thing you know, you've
Yep.
been working out for 6 months consistently and you barely even knew it. So it's almost like getting that in that optimal health condition is like a byproduct of your hard work. Well,
Hmm.
getting out of shape and getting fat and sluggish and all this stuff is a byproduct of you not putting in the work.
Yep.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that makes sense, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. 100%.
And I also want to go back to the point that you said that you tried some sort of diet and it basically made you rebound hard. And if anything, it made your relationship with food maybe even a little bit worse.
Oh yeah, big time.
So
I
why
was
don't you talk
basically.
about that diet that you did that you said you wanted to rebound, that you basically rebounded with almost immediately?
Yeah, so that was freshman year. Basically, I went into college and I wasn't eating enough. I was skipping meals. I was just like, oh, I don't need to eat that food. Like, I don't
Mhm.
need that meal. So I just I wasn't eating a lot at all. I was probably eating maybe like 1,300, 1,400 calories.
And you were, how much did you weigh at the time?
At the time, I believe I was around 215. So not as heavy as I was when I started my weight loss journey in
Yeah.
2019. I was about 215. That was a lot heavier than I've been before. I was always 190 in high
Yeah.
school.
Mhm.
So I was just skipping meals. I wasn't really working out either. I was just kind of walking a lot. That's all I was doing. You
Mhm.
realize big campus.
Mhm.
Um, and I noticed I dropped a lot of weight, but I also
Mhm.
dropped a lot. I had no muscle. I had no strength.
Yeah.
And like I was
Like, how much
thinner.
weight did you drop, and how quickly did you drop it?
I dropped down to about 195, I would say. And I probably dropped that weight in like 2 months, maybe.
So you dropped 20 pounds in 2 months?
Yeah, just about.
About? Okay. And that was without working out, just walking around and not eating enough, right? Okay.
Yeah, basically starving myself. And so then slowly, like I started eating a little bit more. I would tell myself, "Oh, I lost this weight. Like I can, eat this dessert today. Like
Mhm.
why not?" And then I just kept eating that dessert, or keep eating that. I kept eating unhealthy and telling myself, "Oh, it's fine." And
Mhm.
another big thing I did with my when I was losing weight was I cut out carbs completely. Like I was like, carbs are
That's a
the
huge
enemy.
mistake so many people make. I
Yep.
don't know if you saw that video that I made about the carbs, and I
Yep.
was like, and because people come to me all. I didn't mean to cut you off, by the way. Like, please
Yeah,
keep your train
good.
of thought because I don't want you to lose it. But people come to me and they're like, Nasser, like I want to lose weight, so I just got to cut out carbs, right? And I should be fine and just eat all protein. I'm like,
Nope.
no, like no, like the almost basically the exact opposite. Like your diet should be like basically consists of half carbs
Hmm.
because the healthy amount, like the healthy RDA amount like by like the federal registration dietary whatever, they say 45 to 60% of your diet should be carbohydrates
Yeah.
unless you have some sort of medical condition where you literally should not be eating carbs. There is really no reason why you should be cutting out carbs to lose weight, because even when I like you've been with me for a while for like meal plans, stuff like that, like your meal plans have never really been less than like 45% carbs for most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you've been more successful with this strategy than when you cut out carbs completely, obviously,
Oh yeah.
because you've been
100%.
losing weight consistently for a while.
Yeah, when I cut out carbs completely, I felt so drained every day, and I was like, "Oh, it's fine. Like, that's just normal. I'll bounce
Mhm.
back from it." And then I was so to counteract that, I was drinking energy drinks, having lots of caffeine, just
Mhm.
trying to get some energy. I had
Yeah.
I was flat all day, every day, and it felt horrible. So when I started eating carbs again,
Mhm.
I rebounded quickly. Like I was eating a lot of carbs,
Yeah.
and then I was just gaining weight
Because you just kind
fast.
of you kind of were like craving them, and then you were like at
Mhm.
one point once you had that one taste, you were like, all right, like I miss these so much, like I'm just gonna have like a bunch of them. Like I got
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Exactly, and then basically that lasted from sophomore year until, my senior year of college when I realized like, "Oh, man, like, how did I get to this point?" And I think back to it and it's like, "Oh, okay, I had no idea what I was doing, and I
Mhm.
was just trying to guess and basically kind of hope that I lost weight."
Yeah. I got you. I got you. And maybe like you didn't mention this, but maybe the first time you thought that like losing weight maybe was like a quick thing. Like you thought you could like, I'm gonna do this real quick and then I'll be good. Like
Yeah,
I'll lose 20 pounds like in a month and then I'll be good for like a year and I'll keep that off. Like
yeah,
that's just not how it works. And that's why I hate when people come out with these like pills, these fad diets, these quick fix solutions. Like I despise that stuff. Like I think it's such a lie to everyone that like, no, this isn't just like a thing that you're gonna do for 6 weeks. If you're serious about being in shape, like it has to become a lifestyle change.
yep.
It has to become a complete lifestyle change. And I was gonna ask you actually, so what was different this time with you coming into this other weight loss journey you started senior year? So, but you made it pretty clear that this time you didn't cut out carbs and you weren't expecting a quick fix solution, because we actually had a few conversations about it before you started it, and you asked me a few things and I was like, no, it's more of like a long-term thing, and I think you probably acquired your own knowledge about it too. So why don't you talk about like what else was different besides adding the carbs back in and uh, not expecting a quick fix solution?
I think my mentality was a big part of it. I
Mhm.
skipped a lot of steps when I
Mhm.
first started,
Mhm.
and this time I heard this quote once. I can't remember who it was by, but he basically said, "In order to make a lifestyle change, you have to be disgusted with what your old habit.
Wow, I love that.
Decide that you want to make a change,
Mhm.
then start with micro habits. Not just start right away. You got to start with micro habits, and
Yeah.
that will become a habit over
Mhm.
time." And that's what I did differently. I was disgusted with that photo, and I said, "Man, like I'm disgusted with how I let myself into or to where I was that day. And
Mhm,
I said, I decided I'm going to make a change.
mhm,
And it started off with just small things. I thought I could run a mile easily. I could not. I ran about a half mile and I was
mhm.
dead after that. But
And
I said,
today
you know what?
you're
Let me
able
see.
to run almost what, 3 miles without stopping?
Yeah.
3 miles?
Over the summer, I ran 7 miles. I stopped a couple times during that, but I ran 7 miles, and that's the most I've ever ran in my life.
And this has been within like a year change.
Yeah. Yep.
So just to make it clear, like, I'm not saying expect like Ramsey's type of results within a few months, but I'm saying you give it like a little more time than expected, like the results are gonna come.
hmm
Like you just gotta put in the work like Ramsey's done. Sorry, keep going with what you're saying. I just want to
So
make
you're good. And a big thing that too is, when I started in January 2019. I
sure.
felt like I wasn't getting any results. I felt like I wasn't going anywhere for months. It took until like March, maybe April, when
And what
someone
were you doing when you weren't seeing results? Like, what mistakes do you think you made that you could have changed looking back?
I think, progress photos are actually a big one.
Mhm.
I wasn't taking any. I was hopping on a scale, and I didn't notice any change in me. It's hard for you to notice the change in you.
Yeah,
Other people will notice it instantly,
yeah.
and that's what I realized months later when I saw someone I haven't seen in a month or two,
Mhm,
and she was like, "Wow, you look like you lost a lot of weight."
mhm.
And I was like, "Oh, like, okay, maybe what I'm doing is working. Like,
Yeah,
maybe I need to keep going and just keep
mhm.
pushing myself."
Yeah,
And so if I had to change anything, I would just start taking photos a lot sooner.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Because a lot of people just depend on the scale because progress photos aren't really like a thing. Like
mhm,
like mainstream, like the typical normal person when they're starting a weight loss journey, they're gonna be like, all right, immediately I need to weigh myself every day, and if I'm not losing weight, I should be freaking out. But like that's not really like how it should be working because the scale can be manipulated so many ways. Like if you drink too much water the night before, if you drink too much water during the day, it's
mhm,
gonna be thrown off. So that's why progress photos, and I think optimally once a week progress photos on the same day, if you can be consistent with that, I think there's no more effective way than tracking progress than progress photos. And
absolutely.
maybe weighing yourself, maybe like not every day of the week, maybe like 2, 3 times just to see if you're generally losing weight. But even if it's off during those 2, 3 times, like it's really not a big deal. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
And you know that all like, and my roommate used to freak out all the time. He was like, Nasser, like, why am I not losing weight? Like I've been the same weight. I've been fluctuating between like 210 and like 207 or something like that. I'm like, dude, like relax. Like I can see you. Like you are losing weight. Your progress photos show that you're losing weight.
yep,
So don't worry too much about the scale. But at one point, obviously, we were just like, okay, it's been 3 weeks. You haven't really changed on the scale. So maybe at that point we can start cutting a little more calories. But seriously, like progress photos, extremely effective. Extremely
yep,
effective. I agree with you. So
100%.
so we went over what was different this time, and you were talking about mentality. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. Another thing too is I started taking a lot more ownership of my
Mhm.
life. I was coming up with excuses a lot, and I think the best podcast I ever listened to is Jocko Willing's podcast
Oh,
about
great
extreme
podcast.
ownership.
The guy's an
Read
animal.
his
The
book.
guy's an animal. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I read his book,
Mhm,
loved it. I highly recommend it for anybody. But
mhm,
he talked about how your excuses are lies. They're lies that you're telling yourself. I would wake up and say, "Man, I don't need to lose weight. Like I'm tired. Like I don't want to work out today. I
yeah.
did enough this week." And that's a lie. Like I need to get up. Even if I do a bad workout, I still got up and I
Mhm,
still worked out. And it might not be the best workout, but I still
mhm,
did something.
mhm,
So I just started taking a lot more like ownership of my life, whether it was in the gym or in the classroom or just in like my life in general. I
mhm.
noticed that I was slowly becoming more mature almost, and I was definitely more comfortable with looking at myself and saying, okay, what am I doing wrong, and how can I change it?
Mhm. I agree with that. And I feel like once you kind of prove yourself that, let's say you're in that moment where you're like, like I'm tired, like, I'm not really feeling it. And if you can prove to yourself that you can actually do the workout, even though you're still tired, that's just like going to bring up your mindset even more. It's just going to make you, because you're challenging yourself, like you're putting yourself in an uncomfortable situation, and putting yourself in those uncomfortable situations is what's really going to make you grow. And obviously it's what's going to make you see the results. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like not everything, like, like we're pretty young. Like I'm not saying like we know everything or anything like that, but I'm saying like we know if some things have to get done and like we don't specifically like it, it doesn't mean that we're just not going to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's not like every day we wake up and we're like, oh, hey, like, hey, we're super excited to work out. Like I am so hyped for my leg day at home. Like
Hmm.
no, absolutely. Sometimes I dread it. But you know what?
Yeah.
Like when I get it done, I'm like, all right, you know what? I got it done. And the thing is, it's not really an option. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
don't really think it's an option for you either. Like
Yeah.
it's like I live this life and I want to be a healthy person and I want my body to look a certain way. I'm going to do it whether I like it or not.
Yeah.
And that's what
Exactly.
Jocko emphasizes too. He's like it's discipline. Like whether you like it or not, you better do it.
Yeah. If
So
you need to get uncomfortable, you cannot make a change in your life by staying in a comfortable zone. If you stay in that comfort zone, you will never grow because everything you need to grow with is outside of that zone.
exactly, exactly. And I don't know, I just feel like you can apply like once you realize your potential in your health, you can apply that to almost anything. You can apply
Hmm.
that to literally anything. Because once you
Yeah.
prove to yourself that you looked a certain way, like, oh, I look like this, but now you look like this, and you prove to yourself that you can do that, you
Hmm.
can apply that to anything. You can apply that to your job. You can apply that to finances. You can apply that to family. You can apply that to anything. Like you can be successful in anything because you already proved to yourself you're capable of making a huge change.
Yep.
But you,
Exactly.
you just can't sit there and expect like results to come and you're not even putting in any work. Like the
Yep.
world owes you nothing.
Hmm. Exactly. You have to go out
You owe the
there and
world.
make it. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't know. I was just anything else you want to say on mental strategy or anything else that you would say besides the micro habits you were mentioning. Anything else you want to mention about mentality?
Definitely, something you brought up earlier, you need to stay disciplined. You can't tell yourself that it's okay to, break the habit now. You,
Hmm.
you can't, be comfortable with staying undisciplined. And that goes with more than just working out. I don't want to take progress photos this week. Well, you have to,
Yeah,
because how are you going to know if you grew? I don't want to
exactly.
jump on the scale this week. You should, you know, how are you going to know if you did better or not? I don't want to go to the gym this week. Why? You stay disciplined. That's the most important thing. I
Hmm.
remember going home sometimes, especially in college too, going home to my house, and I knew I had to run that day. I'd go home, I'd walk in the house, and Domino's is sitting right there, like that pizza, and it is tempting me big time. I'd be like, "Oh man, I want a slice," and everybody's like, "Dude, have a slice. I have a drink. Like, come on, it's fine, dude. It's fine." And I'm like, "No, like I'm gonna go for my run. Even if it's a short run, half mile, whatever. That's what I said I was gonna do when I went home,
Hmm.
and I'm home now, so I need to go do that."
Hmm. And this is real. These are real situations that happen to people every single day. Like you are
Hmm.
challenged every single day on whether you're going to stay disciplined or not.
Yep.
And honestly, like I'm not saying like everyone has different goals. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But the people that you live with and the people that you're friends with should somewhat be supportive of that goal. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm not saying those guys are bad friends for like offering you a slice of pizza or anything. Obviously, they're good people for offering you a slice, but like they got to realize that you have certain goals to reach, and you have to stay disciplined enough to say no. I'm sorry. Like I envision my body looking a certain way in a few weeks, a few months, a year from now, and it just does not involve this pizza.
Yep.
It just doesn't involve it. And if I do this, if I break my discipline now, then I'm literally proving to myself that I can break it
Yeah.
and
And at
that'll
first,
be a habit, and then that'll be a habit, and then you break it again, you break it again. No, don't break the habit.
yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
And at first, it was tough. At first, I had a lot of my friends. They're like, "Oh, you're crazy. Like, come on, man. Like, you're crazy." But
Mhm.
I stayed disciplined. I stayed with that regimen that I said I was going to stay with, and I got a lot of respect from it. And if
Mhm.
they didn't respect me for it, and they still kind of judged me, which most of them didn't, and very few did.
Mhm.
It was a lot from like my previous years. A lot of friends from my previous years that
Yeah,
didn't understand it. You just don't need those people in your life. They're not supporting you, and if they're not supporting you, they don't need to stay in constant communication with you.
exactly, exactly. I completely agree with that as well. Um, all right. So, what so far has been the hardest part about the fitness journey, though? Because I know we've talked about a
Um,
lot of things, a lot of mentality stuff and stuff here and there. So, what do you personally think is the hardest part?
I think the hardest part probably was, and it kind of goes back to the mentality thing,
Yeah.
is just you know realizing um, when I was trying to convince myself to quit,
Mhm.
and when I actually was burnt out and I couldn't go anymore.
Mhm.
And I feel like there's times when you're on your run or you wake up in the morning, you're like, I'm so burnt out, I
Mhm.
can't go anymore.
Mhm.
And you can go a lot more. You can
You can.
keep going, you can keep working hard. And that's just a whole nother side of you that wants you to quit. That's the darkness that wants you
Mhm,
to quit.
mhm.
And
That
the
darkness
hard,
is within everyone, by the way.
oh, absolutely.
Everyone. So keep going.
It doesn't go away. It never, it stays there. But the more you train physically and mentally, the more you can, the better you can be at, pushing it to the side and ignoring it and saying, no, that's
Mhm.
not what I'm doing. This is what I'm going to do. So I think that was the toughest part, just kind of, wake up every day and saying, all right, I can do this. Because honestly, the first couple of months I would wake up every day and be like, come on, like, I do not want to do this at
Yeah.
all. I do not want to. And I would be literally dragging my feet, walking out the door, going on to my workout.
Mhm. And it's all those mini mental victories that really lead to that big, like progress at the end of the finish line or whatever.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So and actually I kind of want to go back. So when you say you have more in you, I completely agree with that. Because every time I go for a run, like every time, like the other day I did my first 4 mile run and I was so hyped about it.
Hmm.
But even within the first mile, I was starting to get gassed. I was
Yeah.
starting to get gassed. It happens, and you know what? It happens to me every single time. Every
Yep.
single time after I run a mile, I'm just like, I don't know if I can do this. Every
Hmm.
time. And I've done 3 milers, I've done 2 milers, whatever. I'm not like a long distance guy. I'm not even a runner. I'm just trying to get better at it. But every time it mentally challenges me. I'm like, I could stop right now. Like
Hmm.
I could stop right now. Like I could just stop running right now and just walk. And
Hmm.
I'm just like, no. But
Yeah.
but the thing is, I don't stop.
Yep.
I keep going. And then I get to mile 2 and I'm like, wow, like I am so tired right now. But then
Yep.
I get to mile 3 and then I get to mile 4. And then before then, I'm like, wow, I just hit a PR.
Yeah.
And I was doubting myself the whole time. So not the whole time, but like definitely in the beginning, it's like, all right, like, wow, this is tough. But once you get into the rhythm of things, I think it gets a little easier. But even when you get deeper into the run or deeper into a workout, you're just like, damn, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know, man. But then you
Yeah.
finish it.
Yeah. Exactly.
And same thing with like my at-home workouts. Like I've been doing circuit training, and a lot of people have been doing circuit training, especially since they're at home. And I'll get to usually it's 5 rounds, and I'll get to my last round 5, and I'm like, wow,
Hmm.
like I could stop right now. Like
Yep.
I'm probably, I got a good workout in, like I'm good, but I'm like, damn, if I can do this 5th round, like I'm better than I was yesterday.
Yeah.
Or you know what? I'm just gonna prove to myself that I definitely still have more in me.
Yep.
So you definitely have more in you than you think.
Yeah.
A
And
person definitely has more in them than you think. Go ahead and reflect on that if you want.
yeah, so I think a lot of people too tell themselves, oh, I'm not a runner. I'm not a lifter. I don't do that stuff. Like I'm not good at that. I can try, but I'm not good at it. We are all runners. We can all be lifters. We can do anything. You just have to. You first of all, don't compare yourself to others. I did that a lot when I first started running. When I was going to my runs, I'd see people passing me, flying by me on
Mm-hmm.
their runs, especially in college neighborhood where everybody just loves to run sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be like, oh man, like I'm not a runner like they are. But that's not true. Like I am a runner. I'm my own runner.
Mm-hmm.
You run at your pace and you at your effort pace. Whether it's a 5 out of 10 or a 6 out of 10, like that's the pace that you can run at, and you should stick with that. Don't try to go 10 out of 10 for your entire run. It's just not realistic.
Mm-hmm.
Find your pace, stick with it, and then every week try to move up a little bit. Take your time with it, but don't tell yourself you're not a runner, and don't look at other people and say, "Man, I wish I could run like they can," because they
Exactly.
started somewhere too.
Exactly. Like I agree with that. I agree with that. Don't compare yourself to people too much, because then you're going to deviate from your own progress. So
Hmm.
you should be progressing, like you said, like you should be progressing to what's progress for you. So if
Yep.
you ran 1 mile in 8 minutes that week, but then next week you ran it in 7:58, hey, that's a PR.
Yep.
Hey, like the guy next to you did in 6:45, but what the fuck does that matter? Like
Hmm.
you're where you're at right now, and you just progressed anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe 6:45 would be a good goal to reach, but you got to take your time getting there.
Yeah.
Because if you compare yourself too much, you're just going to take yourself out of it completely.
Yeah. And there's times that you're gonna run. You'll run an 8 mile or 8 minute mile one week, and then the next week you're at 8:30. That's okay.
Yeah.
It happens. You just have those weeks, but you have to stay consistent with it. It's not every day that you're doing it, but if you stay consistent with it,
Mm-hmm.
it will get better and better.
Mm-hmm. And that goes back to discipline, like we said before. And one more thing on that topic. yeah, a bunch of people always come up to me and they're like, damn, Nasser, like, how do I get to the fitness level that you're at right now? And I'm like, dude, honestly, like, you can't really compare yourself to me. Like,
Mhm.
I've been training for like 7 years. You've been training for what? Like, you trained for like what, 4 years in high school, took a little bit of time off, and now you're back, right? So probably like 6 years on and off.
Yeah, pretty
About?
much.
Okay. Like, you can't really compare my strength levels and Ramsey's strength levels to yourself if you're literally just starting out.
Mhm.
Like, I once had a client, and he was like, dude, like, I don't know if this is working. Like, I thought I was gonna look like you within like, a month. I'm like, dude, I have been training my ass off for 7 years.
Mhm.
If you think you should deserve the same results that I got in 7 years in 2 months, you got to change your mentality up, man.
Yeah.
You got to make sure that you're progressing. Don't worry about what I look like. Worry about what you look like, and worry about make sure that you're progressing on that.
Yeah.
Don't
Exactly.
compare yourself to me. You can use me as an example for what you want to look like down the line
Yeah.
when you get the experience, when you put in the hours, when you paid your dues. But don't
Mhm.
compare yourself when you barely started. Just compare yourself to yourself.
Yep.
But compare yourself to the day before. Compare yourself to the week before. Compare yourself to the year before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, that's very important. I'm glad you mentioned that. You shouldn't compare yourself to others too much. So
Mhm.
that brings me to the next point. So what's been the best part about your weight loss journey?
The best thing, honestly, the best parts have been just the little things, like very little things.
Mhm.
If when I first started running, I was so just sluggish. I felt horrible starting it. Now I'll start and I feel so much like I started. I'm like, oh, I can go a lot faster. Even and I try not to, but like,
Mhm.
I'm like, wow, I feel a lot more lighter and quicker.
Mhm.
And the I think the other thing too is just like it's another little thing like if you don't feel like you've had a lot of good results and then someone kind of just mentions something to you really quick, they're like, oh, you look better, you look good, and you're like, oh, all right, like cool, like I didn't feel that way, but I'm glad to know that other people are thinking that way too.
Mhm.
So definitely just the little things that have been the best part about it.
I agree with that a lot, actually, because I feel like a lot of people can, and maybe at one point, like, people are gonna come up to you, and I'm sure maybe people have approached you and like, wow, like, Ramsey, like, you proved that you could do this. Maybe I could do this too.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But you just have to put in the work. Like, you
Exactly.
literally just have to put in the work. Like, it's not really like, this isn't rocket science. Like,
Hmm.
it's been done before.
Yeah.
Like, this has been done before. Obviously, I did it. You did it. A bunch of people have done it before.
Yeah.
So you just gotta take the initiative and just do it.
Yeah. And I was like 245, 250 when I first started,
Mhm.
and my goal was to get to 230. So I got to 230. I said, "Oh, all right, cool. Like what if I can get a little bit lower to that? Like what if I can get to 220?" I got to 220 and I was like, "All right, like I really don't think I can get any better than this, but let me keep working and just stay consistent." And I didn't even look at the scale, to be honest, for like a couple of weeks because of that.
Yeah.
And one day I hopped on the scale and I was 205. And I was like, "How did I get how?" Like I, that's why I wish I took progress photos because I'm like, I don't remember, feeling like I lost that much weight. And then it just kept going.
Exactly. Like weight loss victories are how do you call it? They're contagious. Like
Yeah.
being a healthy person is contagious. So
Hmm.
if you prove to yourself that you can do it, at one point you're gonna be like, wow, I can't get enough of this shit.
Yeah.
I can't get enough of
Exactly.
these workouts. I can't get enough of this healthy food. Like, I
Hmm.
love this.
Yeah.
If you're lazy and you don't do any of this, then you're gonna be complacent with that. And then
Hmm.
that laziness is gonna be contagious. And you're gonna keep being lazy and you're gonna be happy with that.
Yeah.
But you could be so much happier knowing that you're taking care of yourself. Like, even just in the back of your mind, you know what I mean? Like, when you go to the doctor, you're like, oh wow, I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not really worried about anything. Like, I've been exercising forever. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
even the little things like this isn't a big deal, but like even when you go to the beach, you're like, all right, I've been working out for years. I'm fine. I'm good. I'm good to go to the beach. I don't have to worry about cutting down for a month to kind of look good for maybe a month. No, I do this year round.
Hmm.
Like, this is a lifestyle to me.
Yeah.
You know what I
Exactly.
mean? So and yeah, just like, yeah, and you, like you said, like the little things, like people come up to you, maybe people get inspired by you, and just people can prove to themselves that they can do it.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
so I completely agree with that. Um, were there times when you thought that you couldn't do it though?
Oh yeah. Without a doubt. There's been a lot of days where like, I just felt like I wasn't making any progress. Especially at the beginning too, especially like within the first 6 months, I really felt like I was, hitting a wall, and I just
Mhm.
was like, why am I doing this? And, I wanted to quit so many times. There was a couple times too on my runs when I'd start running, and then like not even halfway through, I'd be like, all right, what are you doing? Like, come on, you worked out yesterday. Like you did stuff yesterday. It's fine. Walk back to the house. Like we're going to be good. And then I would start to kind of, head towards the house, and then I would stop and say, what if I can keep going? And that what if mentality was huge for me. That's something I kind of got from David Goggins. I'm not sure if
Mhm.
you're familiar with him. And I remember him telling himself,
Love that guy.
oh, yeah, he would always tell himself, he would say, well, what if I can keep going? And that's what I would do. I would keep going. I'd go do whatever I planned out to do. If it was a mile, if it was 2 miles, I'd go and do it. And when I came back, I was like, wow, thank God I
Mhm.
kept going. Thank
'Cause
God.
imagine if you went back to the house.
Yeah.
Like, how would you feel about yourself?
I'd feel awful. And there was a few times right at the beginning where I did go back, and I went back, walked inside, and said, "That why did I do that?" And then I
Exactly.
went right back out because I said I need to go back out, even if I get just a little bit, even if I walk,
Yeah.
I need to do something
Mhm.
because right now I feel like a loser, and I do not want to feel like that.
Yeah, I got you. And another saying that I really, really like, and I think some people are fairly familiar with him, but he's not like massive. He's not like a massive fitness influencer. Nick Bear. I know I've told you about him a few times, but he has
Yep.
this saying where it's like, look, if you're uncomfortable with something, or like this something is like new to you, or you really feel like you are not capable of doing it,
Hmm.
just say 1, 2, 3, go.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, go. And
Hmm.
honestly, I've been doing that a lot like these past few days too, because sometimes you're not always, like we said, we're not always motivated. We're not super like, we're not the most motivated people in the world. Like I can't watch a motivational video like every hour of every single day to stay motivated.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's little things like that. It's like 1, 2, 3, go. Like whether I
Hmm.
want to do it or not, 1, 2, 3, go. I'm gonna go do my workout. 1, 2, 3, go. I'm gonna go for my run. 1, 2, 3, go. I'm gonna go for my walk. 1, 2, 3,
Yep.
go. I'm gonna study for this. Like
Yep.
just do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
and there's sometimes in the gym too that like a certain exercise like I one exercise I hate, and it's so good for you, but
mhm,
I hate it.
mhm,
Glute bridges, barbell glute bridges, hate
yep.
it. So good for you.
Mhm,
And there's times I hate doing them, and I'm like, really, like, am I going to do this today? And
mhm,
I go, all right, let me do one set and just see what happens. And I go do that one set, and I'm like, okay, I'm already set up. I already started. I'm going to keep going. And I know I'm going to do it either way, but just convincing myself that to do one set, I know is going to trick my body into being like, all right, let's go, let's do this. It's going to
mhm.
trick my mind into being like, let's do it, let's get it done.
Absolutely. And this is transferable to anything you do.
Hmm.
If you're feeling lazy one day, just close your eyes, say 1, 2, 3, go. Like
Yep.
sometimes I'll even be on my, that workout was a really good example, by the way. But sometimes I'll even be trying to do schoolwork or something like that, and I keep looking at my phone, and I'm like,
Mm.
what the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, why do I keep looking at Instagram when I know I got shit to do? So
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, I throw my phone on my bed, and I'm like, all right, time to grind. I'm not gonna look at that. And
Yep.
if I do go back and get it, I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, go again. Throw it on my bed,
Yeah.
and yeah, keep going with it.
Exactly.
So another question I have for you: did you ever plateau?
Absolutely. 100%. I've
Mhm.
plateaued a bunch of times in my ellipse, my runs, even on the scale, I've plateaued a bunch of
Mhm.
times. It was always interesting when I did. I remember plateauing at like 220 when I was on the scale. I remember for bench, I was plateaued at like 225. And which is funny because in high school I was lifting so much more than that. So,
Mhm.
it was like a bummer. I was like, why can't I?
Mhm.
I used to warm up at 225,
Mhm.
and now I can't even push it. And then on my runs too, I was stuck at like a awful mile pace at like literally a 11-minute mile pace at my beginning of the runs, and like I just could not break it.
Mhm. I got you. And what steps did you take to break that plateau or these plateaus?
Honestly, to break them, I looked at what I was doing and I said, what can I do to make this more fun? Can I switch this up?
Mhm.
Because if you're having fun doing it, you're gonna see some results. So like with running, I'm like, man, I keep doing these straight nonstop runs, like 2, 3 miles. Let me switch it up. Let me do some interval runs or hills, something different. just something kind of more fun for like the next week, let's just see what happens. Or like with the weights, I would drop down the weight and say, all right, let's drop down the weight and let's see what we could do. Or, let me throw in an extra exercise, like 1 or 2 sets at the end of that workout that I like to do, like floor presses. If I was stuck on bench presses, maybe I'll do like 1 set of floor press at the end of my workout. It's not going to do much for me, but it's just going to kind of make it more interesting of a workout because it's something I enjoy doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the food too, you just look at or the scale, you look at what you're eating. Am I eating something more this week and last week than I was before? Like, am I getting something different? Or can I change it up? Can I change up my meal plan? Can I change up what I'm eating this week? And you just have to have fun with it. And don't worry about, hitting your plateau too much. It's something that's normal. Everybody hits it. It's totally normal. You just have to find a way to kind of break through it. And it might take some time, but eventually you will.
Yeah. The important thing is you definitely can't just look at a plateau and just be like, all right, that's it. Game over.
Yeah.
Like I'm done. I tried everything I could. No, bullshit. No, it's bullshit. Don't just be complacent with that. Like a plateau means that you are obviously doing something that you've been doing for a while and it's not working anymore.
Yep.
Like I'm not sure. I don't know. Like I'm not an English person or anything like that. Like I don't know the straight definition of plateau. But I think the general case of plateauing is you've been doing the same thing for a long time and it's not working, or you're not increasing, or you're not seeing a better result from it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like Ramsey said, you got to change something up. Like something's not working. Like you said with the nutrition, if your weight has been the same, then obviously you've been eating the same thing for a while, and that's why you're not losing weight. So you know what? Time to cut the calories.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing with training. Like if you see a plateau in a lift and you've been training that lift the exact same way for so-and-so amount of time, why should it change? Like why should you expect results from it if you've been doing the same thing for so long?
Yeah, exactly.
Like it literally makes no sense. Like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Mm-hmm.
That's what a plateau is.
Yeah.
It's the same result. So don't take that definition and apply it. Like change something up. Like Ramsey, when you were plateauing for your bench, you started adding a little bit more volume for your bench. Great. Yeah. That should help somewhat. Maybe add some variation of exercises. When you were plateauing with your weight, you started cutting the calories a little bit. So I don't mean to keep repeating myself, but like I'm just making a point that when you plateau, like you do need to make some sort of change.
Yeah, and when you plateau too, don't get frustrated. Don't get angry. Don't be like, oh, like why is this happening to me? I laugh when I plateau because I know it's going to be there is now a new challenge going on in my life, and I am so excited to figure out how to push past it. I love challenges. I love figuring out how am I going to break through this challenge now, and so I embrace plateaus. If it's going to happen, let it happen. Like I'm ready. I'm excited.
And I completely agree with that. So, so what are the future goals?
So I have a lot of goals, honestly. For career-wise, I'm going to nursing school right now. I'm in an accelerated nursing program. I'm graduating in December 2020. Ideally, what I'm planning on doing is going ER or critical care. I need about both, to be honest, for the nursing to get on a helicopter because that's my end goal is to work on a helicopter. And then I'm trying to get into the Navy and Air Force. I've been on a lot of contact with the Navy right now, so it's looking like 6 months after I get my license I can join. I just need that experience first, and then I'm actually going to challenge my EMT license and get my paramedic license.
I got you.
Yeah, I have a lot of other goals too. Like I want to buy property and kind of figure that out. I've been reading a lot about rental property investment right now. Ideally, my life goal is to kind of just inspire others. Like I want to create my own podcast. I want to talk about my life story more, and this is a great start. I'm actually really excited to be on this. But I want to inspire others and show them like, hey, like I'm normal. Like I'm not a guy with a 6-pack abs or anything like that. But look at what I did. This is my mentality, and this is how.
And how do you feel? In general, fitness and health has helped you kind of shape. I'm not gonna say that those health and fitness is the reason why those goals exist, but how much do you think that helped you kind of mold those goals and make you think it's possible? Before.
It definitely helped me because before I came out, I wasn't disciplined. I was kind of filled with excuses. I just kind of didn't really care. And now I have, my own self drive that I didn't have before. I'm inspired to see how far I can push myself and I love staying disciplined. It's another challenge for me, and I embrace challenges.
Mhm.
Whereas before, I didn't want to go through any challenges. I wanted to coast through life nice and easily. That's what I wanted to do.
And that's what a lot of people think is going to get them like what they want in life. You know what I mean? But if you
Hmm.
want something like that's not usual, you know what I mean? If you want to be like extremely successful, if you want to be in optimal shape, like you got to start doing stuff that not everyone else is doing.
Yep.
You got to start doing different stuff.
Hmm.
You can't just look around like your group of friends that are all, going to have like, their ordinary jobs, their ordinary health, or do you want to push the limit and
Yep.
take that to the next level?
Hmm.
Well, it's time to start making a change.
Yeah.
It's time to start taking action for yourself.
Yeah.
And that's going to lead me to my last point. So, what advice would you give someone just starting out, either a weight loss journey or just like some sort of fitness journey in general? What advice would you give them?
Definitely just stay disciplined. Do not get discouraged. Do not quit. Do what you can. Don't hurt yourself. Don't try to, go all out right at the beginning. Do what you can and build it up and stay disciplined. Stay with it. Don't get too frustrated. And I think the other thing too is don't compare yourself to others. Everybody wants to take the highway where you have, all the exits labeled. Everything is labeled and you know where to go. Find your own road. Create it. Grab that shovel, make your own road, and decide where you want to go, because you will feel a lot better
Mm-hmm.
going that way than the easy highway road where everybody else is going.
Mm-hmm. I absolutely agree with that. Absolutely. And I'm just going to kind of give my advice. Very, very similar to yours. So the first thing is just start.
Hmm.
Just start. If you don't start, then how do you even expect to see crazy results in the end?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter it does matter if you stay disciplined and all this stuff. It does matter that you're staying consistent with your diet and your workout plans and whatever it is. But if you never start, then how is anything going to happen?
Hmm.
If you never put yourself in that initial uncomfortable zone, then how are you going to expect some sort of change?
Yeah.
Like, I know people are just stuck in like, the normal people life, or like, just doing average shit. But you know what? If you want something special, you got to put yourself in that uncomfortable situation, like we talked before.
Hmm.
But not most of all, you got to start.
Yeah.
You have to start. You have to start doing something different, like we said before, and then obviously everything else on top of that, like I said before, you just stay consistent with everything else, and you will see results. Stay disciplined. Even if you question yourself throughout the journey, that's part of it. And
Hmm.
just overall, just don't lose faith in yourself.
Yeah.
Just don't lose faith in yourself. Even if you see a plateau, don't don't cry over it or anything like that. Just start making a change, because obviously you're not sorry. Like, a lot of people don't want to hear this, but you're doing something wrong,
Yeah.
and you got to do something different.
You got to take ownership
So,
of it.
um, yeah, and I think we'll wrap it up with that. Ramsey, I appreciate you coming on here and sharing your journey with me. And I hope a lot of people take the advice that we gave on here and implement it somehow into their lives, whether it's personal reasons or fitness goals or whatever it is. So I appreciate you coming on here, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm excited to, see this and see everybody's journey.
Yep. Awesome. Awesome. All right. We'll talk to you soon, Ramsey.
All
Bye.
right. Thank you, man.